Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's apparently National Cooking Day, Tony. Do you like to cook?
Tony Kornheiser, no, but I've been told that I sizzle.
Okay, then. All righty. Aren't you like one of those people who thinks you're a grill master? Aren't you a grill guy?
I do, yes. I actually grill a lot. I enjoy grilling a lot. My son makes fun of me because I do it by timing. You know, I asked for a 5-minute timer at some point. He says that's not the way you do it, but I do it that way. And I do like to grill. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Guardians take over the AL Central. The Ryder Cup tees off tomorrow, and Booger McFarland joins us to break down a big weekend in college football. But we begin today with Cal Raleigh hitting 2 more home runs last night, numbers 59 and 60, as Seattle beat Colorado to clinch the American League West, their first division title since 2001. At Yankee Stadium, Aaron Judge also hit 2 home runs, numbers 50 and 51, and went 3 for 4 to raise his batting average to a major league leading .328. The Yankees beat the White Sox to claim a tie with Toronto for first place in the American League East. Wilbon, let us start with Raleigh. What sort of achievement is it, him hitting 60 home runs?
Truly historic. And I'm using that word with some sense as an old person with a sense of history, real history. Not combining 8 things to say, he's the first person to do this since, 2016. No, he's the 7th person to do it. And that's if you include Sosa, McGuire, and Bonds, the 7th guy to hit 60. The others being Ruth, Maris, and Judge. That's the list. In 150 years of Major League Baseball. And he's the only guy on that list to be a catcher who has the hardest duty on the field day in, day out, the only catcher. So he surpassed in a lot of ways Berra and Campanella and Bench and those the names that come to my mind as somebody who's followed baseball all my life. So, Tony, when you consider those 2 things, catcher, switch hitter, and 60, it truly historic.
So let me get to this because I want to emphasize what you're talking about, the fact that he plays catcher. I cannot explain enough the physical wear and tear, the grueling day after day of being a catcher in the major leagues. And so you think that when it comes to September, there's not enough left for any offense. Raleigh now has 10 home runs in September. This is the 11th time this season that he hit 2 multiple home runs in 1 game. In the last 9 games he's played, he has 7 home runs. Let me back up a little bit. We've been in the lively ball era for over 100 years. The record for home runs in 100 years for a catcher was 48. This guy's got 60. He didn't break the record. He jumped like Bob Beamon on this record. And let me get to Judge, because 51 home runs for Judge seems meager next to Raleigh.
4th time.
But
4th time.
I'm going to go for a while, but Judge is now 4 times. There's only 3 people in Major League history who went 4 times 50. And that's Ruth and McGuire and Sosa. And you know I'm getting rid of McGuire and Sosa for obvious reasons.
I know.
Since September 11th, Aaron Judge is batting like .439. He's got 7 home runs. His OPS is 1.572. That's ungodly.
That's
and the Yankees have been 10-3 there, and like Seattle, have bounced up to the top of their division. I believe have 3 more wins than Seattle has. So it's still, I would vote for Raleigh for MVP, but it's still going to be really tight. I think it's going to be tight.
I love Judge, Tony. I love Judge. No, Judge not catching. Judge, because of injury, couldn't even play his normal position in the outfield a lot. He had a DH some this summer.
I understand that.
Raleigh. It's Raleigh, and Raleigh.
60 in our lives, at our age, 60 is magic.
Means something.
Let's stay with baseball, and let's move over to your Midwestern teams. Last night, Cleveland again beat Detroit, this time 5-1. Cleveland is now 1 game clear of the Tigers in the American League Central. It's the first time in 175 days the Tigers are not in first place. Wilbon, what is the more compelling aspect of this, the Guardians' rise or the Tigers' fall?
Tony, they both are in their own way. Both, either answer can be true, but for me, first, it's Cleveland. I mean, this is a team where management was essentially, selling off stuff at the trade deadline, and it looked like it was okay. we're punting on this season. We'll add some pieces. We'll be better. We still have, some nice pieces around. But no, they didn't just give up. They didn't punt. The players on the field did not do that. And to have that pitching, to have that starting pitching this many games in a row, that too, less historic, but still, Tony, it's just not done. I mean, starting pitching we know is very vulnerable around Major League Baseball all the time, essentially. So to get that consistency of starting pitching night after night after night to get back in this race and win 17 and 19, for me, it's Cleveland.
What Cleveland is doing right now after the All-Star break and selling some things off, that's what Detroit did last year, and Detroit made the playoffs. Mike, if I were still writing a sports column, my column would be the Tigers. Because you know that I believe that a losing locker room is always more interesting than a winning locker room.
Usually.
The Tigers have they have lost 8 in a row. They have lost 11 of 12. And in the last 2 games, they lost with first place directly on the line to the team that was chasing them.
Yeah.
They have now gone 0-5 against Cleveland in the last 8 days. Mike, this is a biblical collapse. This is the 1964 Phillies, and here is a quote from A.J. Hinch. It's painful. I'm having a hard time coming up with words, but what I'm seeing out of our team is not normal, but it's our reality, unquote. The Tigers right now, in the last 12 games, they've only scored 28 runs. That's 2.3 runs a game. That's not enough. In their last 7 games, only once have they gone over 2 runs scored. This is like a contagion in the clubhouse. This is like some sort of virus. I don't want to give short shrift to Cleveland. Detroit's not just losing these games. Somebody has to beat them. But Cleveland's only beaten them 5 out of the 17 out of 19 Cleveland has won. Cleveland's been great, Mike. I'm just saying I think the more heart-wrenching thing is the Tigers.
Wrenching. I feel bad for the Tigers, Tony. The other night when Skubal got knocked around by 3 batted balls, which went a total of about 40 feet, it was sort of, symbolic of what's going on with Detroit since when they started giving up that 15.5 game lead. They're both compelling stories. Let's celebrate Cleveland a little bit. Not often we do that. The Ryder Cup competition, Tony, starts tomorrow at Bethpage Black on Long Island, where Team USA has home course advantage in its bid to regain the cup that belongs to Team Europe. Tone bettors are giving the United States the edge. Are you?
By the way, I got the Bethpage Black sign right behind me on the set here. That is from the Black course there. I understand why the United States is favored because it is the home course, and in the Ryder Cup, the home course often is the most important thing. They have the #1 player in the world in Scotty Scheffler. They have 7 of the top 10. But I don't think they have a particular advantage at Bethpage. I mean, I really don't. Bethpage has been used for a major here or there. The European players play it as well. Other than John Rahm, almost everybody in the European team is on the PGA Tour. So they play the same courses as the Americans. They play against and with the Americans. All right? The Americans have 4 rookies, Ryder Cup rookies. Europeans only have 1. The Europeans have won a bunch of majors, just like the Americans. You got McIlroy, Lowry, Rose, Rahm, your boy Fitzpatrick. They've come close in a lot of majors. Fleetwood, Hatton, McIntyre, Oberg, Straka, I don't want to mispronounce his name. So to me right now, if you just look at this on paper, I think the Europeans have a small edge.
I think the European team is better on paper, period. Tony, you mentioned how they play these courses and they play with the Americans and against them. They live in America. I bet you I bet you there might be 2 guys who don't make some place in the United States home part or most or all of the year. So I mean, let's get rid of that. I look at this. Look, even when on paper we think the U.S. team is stronger, we often lose because there's something about team competition that just sits well with the European side time after time after time. The European team has won twice on the road in the United States.
2012 in Chicago and Medina.
I was there at that.
2004 at Oakland Hills in Michigan. Yes, twice. Yeah,
It
they've
doesn't
done that.
scare them. They love team competition. They seem to bond. They know they have an advantage there, even if it doesn't exist maybe in Sunday on singles. I know if I was betting, and I don't, I think I would say, oh no, I think Europe has to be considered the team with the edge going into tomorrow morning.
I want to tell you one thing. I've been watching this on Golf Channel for 3 days.
Me
I
too.
watched the
Same
opening
thing.
ceremony yesterday. I watched it. Your Northwestern boy, Luke Donald, was terrific. He is
Yes,
so
he is.
polished behind a
Thank
microphone. Keegan
He
Bradley
is.
was fine, but he was great. And that was a
And
great
Luke
ceremony.
has done it.
Let's take a break.
Luke's done this before
Coming up.
too. He has.
How badly does the loss of... We got a big upcoming weekend in college football, which makes it a perfect time to bring in our great friend, ESPN NFL and college football analyst, Mr. Booger McFarland, wearing a shirt from Old Sandwich in Boston. Let's get to it. Unbeaten Oklahoma has just lost quarterback John Mateer, likely for a month after surgery on his throwing hand. How much of the Sooners' early success do you credit to Mateer?
Probably 90% of it, Tony. Let's not forget, like when he came over, he also brought his offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle, with him. So that dynamic duo has led to the Sooners' offensive surge, and they are playing with a ton of confidence. He is my favorite, early favorite for the Heisman Trophy. That's how explosive this young man has been. He's going to put up a ton of stats. I think he's over 1,300 yards total combined, 12 or 13 touchdowns. And the stats were only going to get bigger and bigger. I hope he comes back soon, because when he's on the field, they can compete not only for an SEC championship, but for a national championship, because he's been playing the position that good. There's no quarterback, and I mean no quarterback, not Arch Manning, not anybody that's playing the position better than John Mateer had been playing it.
Wow. Too bad he's going to be out for a bit. Booger, number 6 Oregon at number 3 Penn State. I don't care about the rankings. I don't care about where the game is. To me, Penn State is going to get just wasted by Oregon. I have seen Oregon once in person this year, but tell me if I'm crazy. What do you see happening in that game?
You know what? It's a very astute opinion by you, and I think it's going to be shared by most. Oregon is the fastest team, the most athletic team I've seen on tape all year. Dante Moore, the transfer from UCLA, now he is doing his thing up there, the dual threat quarterback. They got this tight end, Kenyon Sadiq. He's the best tight end in America. He's a matchup nightmare. And so I'm looking forward to seeing this team on the road in a whiteout in Happy Valley against Penn State. And let's be honest, Mike, we really don't know what Penn State is. Like, they're supposed to be this giant this year. They got everybody coming back. Drew Aller, Singleton, Allen, everybody came back this year. I've heard about them, but I haven't seen them, kind of like Bigfoot. I want to see if the real Penn State is going to show up in a whiteout in a big game. And if they do, then we can announce Penn State as a national championship contender. If they don't, then a lot of people are going to say same old Penn State led by James Franklin.
Yep, I got to see some proof, Booger, on that one. I was waiting for Illinois to provide some proof last week against Indiana. That fell flat as it could possibly fall. Indiana, they're 15-2 under Kurt Cignetti, Booger. Is he that good a coach? What do you see from him?
You know, it's all about attitude, Mike. If you think about this, like, usually a team takes the identity of the head coach, the identity and personality. Think about those Alabama teams led by Nick Saban. They played on the edge. They were always very detailed, very fundamentally sound. Now look at Kurt Cignetti. He's got a little bit of an ego. Remember, he's the same guy that said, if you want to know who I am, guess what? Just Google me, baby. You can find out who I am if you want to know. And that team plays that way. They play with an edge. They play with a confidence. They play with a little bit of brashness. And they got this quarterback. I don't know if you heard of him. His name is Fernando Mendoza, and he's playing the position at a high level. They could have hung 70 on poor old Illinois, and Brett Bielema had no idea where they were coming from. They're well coached. They're on the fundamentals. But I think the most important thing, because they have talent, the most important thing is they got swagger, and they get that from their head coach, because when they walk on the field, they think they're the best team on the field, and you can only get there from the head coach, and Kirk Cignetti has got that swag. And if you don't know it, just Google him.
Yeah, Boog, I'll tell you this. Wilbon and I had this discussion after that game, and I said to him, did this guy run it up? Because 63 points in a conference game. And attitude, yeah, big attitude. Let's get you out of here on this. Let's go to the SEC, which is your conference. Do you expect 17th ranked Alabama to present real problems for number 5 Georgia?
I do. I completely do. And I know people are going to say, well, what about what happened against Florida State for Alabama? Alabama has bounced back. They beat Wisconsin, and I think it was a little bit of an early season letdown. Maybe they didn't take FSU seriously. Maybe FSU is better than we thought. But I think the reason they're going to pose problems for Georgia is this. It's not that they are more talented. I think both teams are going to be equally as talented. But think about this, guys. Kirby Smart is 1-6, if I'm not mistaken, against Alabama. And that's 1-0 against Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer has beaten him one time last year. And I think it has to do with, we always talk about styles make fights. When Kirby went to Georgia, he tried to make Georgia like Alabama. And so I think every time these two teams face each other, Alabama simply says this: they want to be like us. We are us. And so I think this game comes down to the 6 inches between their ears. Alabama realizes they are trying to mimic what we do in gangster stuff. If you want to be like us, you got to come take this. And I just think Georgia has struggled, especially in these games where they've been tight, where they've been favored. I think Alabama has the edge mentally. So to answer your question, Tony, I think this is going to be a close game. It's at Georgia. It's between the hedges. And don't be surprised. That same Alabama team that we saw get blown out in Tallahassee, don't be surprised if they go into Athens and get a victory.
Ooh.
I got to say, I would be surprised. That's just me.
Man,
Booger, as always.
That's good, Booger.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, guys. Go USA.
Let's take one last break, but still to come, the Dodgers may have found a solution to their bullpen. Happy time, people. Happy 92nd birthday, Hubie Brown. We love Hubie. Everybody loves Hubie. Hubie retired from broadcasting basketball games this last February. His last game was the 76ers at Milwaukee. Milwaukee is special to Hubie because it was the Bucks who gave him his first professional coaching position as an assistant in 1972. Before that, Hubie coached in high school and in college as an assistant at William & Mary and Duke in the late 60s. Hubie was head coach at the Kentucky Colonels in the ABA, where he won a title. He coached the Atlanta Hawks, New York Knicks, and Memphis Grizzlies. And he went on television to tell us about the young man with a drop step and enthrall us with his love for and knowledge of the game.
Tony, is there a better person to sit in a hotel lobby with after a basketball game ever than Hubie Brown?
No, best.
Ever.
Best.
No.
Best. Happy anniversary, Al
Honored.
Kaline. This is posthumous, but on this day 70 years ago, the Tigers' 20-year-old phenom outfielder became the youngest batting champ ever when he ended the season with a .340 batting average to win the American League batting title. He was the first 20-year-old Major League player to win the batting title since Ty Cobb did it in 1907. Kaline was an 18-time All-Star, a 10-time Gold Glove winner, a World Series champ in 1968, and a first-ballot Hall of Famer after 22 seasons, all with Detroit. The youngest player ever to win the National League batting title is Juan Soto, who did it at 21 with the Nationals. The line of truly great Tigers hitters starts with Cobb and goes through Hank Greenberg to Kaline to Miguel Cabrera.
With apologies to Lolich and McClain, Trammell and Whitaker, I think the Mount Rushmore of Tigers, Tony, is Cobb, Kaline, Greenberg, and Cabrera. You mentioned them. I think that's the list. That covers a lot of years, doesn't it?
It does
Those
indeed.
4 guys.
Happy trails to the rotation for Roki Sasaki and Clayton Kershaw. The Dodgers got a bullpen boost from 2 starters last night. Sasaki came off the injured list to pitch a scoreless 7th against the Diamondbacks, striking out 2, and Kershaw worked a clean 9th as the Dodgers won 11. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts was particularly impressed with Sasaki, who struggled before going out in May saying, quote, "He looks like a different person. There's just a lot more confidence and conviction," unquote. Entering last night, the Dodgers bullpen had a September ERA of 5.69.
Yeah, they need some help, Tony. I was watching that game live, and to see Kershaw come in that
great,
way,
didn't it? Looked great.
It was weird. It was
Looked
straight.
great.
Whoa, what's going on here?
That's the right. If you want to be in the World Series, that's the change you have to make.
For the Dodgers, it looks like it.
One error. The Yankees only have 1 more win than the Mariners, not 3. That's my bad. Let's go to the big finish.
Let's
the
do
Phillies
it.
hit 8 home runs last night. Are you impressed?
Yes, particularly with my man Schwarber, who hit 2 of them. 56, unbelievable, Tony. 6 scoreless innings in his final start of the season for Mr. Skeens. You giving him the side?
I am. It's a 1.97 ERA. He pitches for a terrible team that gives him no support. Yes, I am giving him the side. Jets quarterback Justin Fields practiced today, but is still in concussion protocol. Your thoughts?
I hope he's cleared and able to play. Garrett Crochet of the Red Sox beat your boy Max Scherzer of the Blue Jays last night. Was that significant?
Crochet's really good. Okay, I love Max Scherzer, but Crochet's really good, all right? Last one, Seahawks at your Cardinals tonight. Who you got?
If I was betting, I would go with Seattle, but I'm not. And I'm rooting for the Cardinals to go 3-1. That division's pretty darn good, Tony. NFC West.
We're out of time. We'll try to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheimer.